Imagine waking up to see one of the biggest stars in music, Diddy, being raided by the FBI and his son turning himself in. This isn't a movie, it's real life, and it's getting darker by the minute. Diddy's world is crumbling fast. He used to be on top of the music game, but now he's the center of a massive federal investigation. His homes were raided in both Los Angeles and Miami. The scenes were straight out an action film. Drones flying through halls, armed agents storming through rooms, and people getting handcuffed. Among those detained were his own sons, Christian and Justin Combs. Christian, also known as King Combs, and Justin didn't expect to be treated like suspects. Their mother, Misa Hilton, was furious. She said her sons were scared and mistreated. She even accused the agents of using too much force just because they were black. She asked a serious question. Would they have been treated the same if they were white celebrities' kids? But the story doesn't end there. Christian is now facing his own lawsuit. A woman says he assaulted her on a yacht during a New Year's Eve party in 2022. She says he wouldn't take no for an answer. She has audio recordings, and if those are real, it could be really bad for him. The lawsuit claims he forced himself on her, and that's not something the court takes lightly. Justin has problems too. He avoided jail time for a DUI by taking a plea deal. He got probation and had to take classes. But with his dad under fire and his own past mistakes, the spotlight is burning hotter than ever. During the raids, FBI agents found weapons, serious ones. They found AR, 15 rifles with their serial numbers scraped off, a drum magazine that holds nearly 60 rounds, and boxes of ammo. This isn't what you expect to find in a music mogul's mansion. If those guns can be tied to Diddy or his family, it could add more charges. But the biggest shock is the federal charges against Diddy himself. He's accused of running a sex trafficking operation, racketeering, and using force and threats to control victims. Prosecutors say he ran events called freakoffs, which were like wild drug-fueled parties where horrible things happened. Women say they were forced into things they didn't want to do, and sometimes cameras were even used to record them. The FBI didn't just show up for fun. They believe they have serious evidence. They waited until they thought their case was strong. And now, they say Diddy used his fame, his money, and his power to hurt people and get away with it for years. But that time may be over. Some people are saying this is all happening too fast. Just weeks before his trial, new charges were added. The defense team is fighting back, saying it's unfair to include things from long ago that were never charged. They believe the government is trying to shock the jury instead of focusing on real evidence. And there are more people involved. Witnesses who were once afraid to talk are now getting ready to testify. One woman says she was at one of Diddy's freakoffs in 2018. She described things that sound like scenes from a nightmare. There were people dressed up, hidden in corners, and acts that no one should have to see. Diddy's friends are also speaking out. Grammy-winning producer Stevie J said the raid felt like a war zone. He said lasers from guns were pointed at people's chests. He felt like someone could have been killed. He's never seen anything like it in all his years in the industry. Even though Christian and Justin were detained, they were not arrested or charged, at least not yet. But their names are now all over the news, and their lives may never be the same. Christian's out lawsuit could end in court or a settlement. Either way, the damage to his name is already done. Social media has been buzzing too. People are asking if Diddy's sons are taking a fall, or they're just caught in the middle of a much bigger storm. Some even say Christian turned himself in as a strategy to protect his father or negotiate a deal. The truth behind that move is still unclear. But while Diddy's legal team says this is all a witch hunt, the evidence keeps stacking up. More raids, more witnesses, more disturbing stories. And the deeper people look, the more skeletons they seem to find. There's even talk that Diddy's entire empire, his companies, his money, his legacy, could fall apart if he's convicted. People who once stood by him are starting to walk away. Hollywood is watching closely, waiting to see how this all plays out. One shocking part of the case involves weapons found in Diddy's house. Not just any weapons, but AR-15s with no serial numbers. That's illegal. Some say maybe they weren't his, since other adults live in the house. But prosecutors think otherwise. They want to find out who had access, and where those guns came from. Another part of the case centers on consent. Diddy's team says many of the acts were consensual, and they have messages and recordings to prove it. But the victims say they were manipulated, drugged, or scared. The courtroom will have to decide which story to believe. One of the expert witnesses expected to testify is Dr. Dawn Hughes. You might remember her from the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. She's known for talking about trauma and abuse. The defense doesn't want her on the stand. They think she'll influence the jury too much with emotional stories. And there's more. A new statement from a woman named Cassie, who previously signed a non-disclosure agreement, might still be used in court. That's because if a court orders you to testify, you have to, even if you sign an NDA. That means more painful details could be revealed. Diddy's sons have also been linked to other drama. One report says Justin lied about hosting small parties, and instead threw massive ones at destroyed rental homes. It adds to the image of a family out of control. At this point, many fans feel let down. Diddy was once a symbol of success, someone who broke barriers in music and business. Now, his name is linked to some of the darkest crimes imaginable. The fall from grace is massive. There's also the question of race. Some believe Diddy and his sons were targeted more harshly because they're black. Others say the law is finally catching up after years of silence. Either way, the case is exposing deep divisions and strong opinions across the country. So what's next? Diddy's trial is set to start soon, but it could be delayed. There's so much going on, new charges, new witnesses, arguments over what's allowed in court. It's a legal maze, and no one knows how it will end. But one thing is clear, Diddy's world will never be the same again. From music mogul to federal defendant, the fall is steep and the landing might be rough. For his sons, this might be just the beginning of a long fight to clear their names or face their own consequences. This story is far from over. Every day brings new headlines, new leaks, and new questions. Will Diddy beat the charges? Or will his empire collapse under the weight of truth? Will Christian and Justin find a way out? Or are they too deep to escape? Let's rewind for a second. This isn't the first time Diddy has found himself in the middle of controversy. His career has always been surrounded by whispers, allegations, fights, drama. But he always seemed to slip away untouched, like nothing could stick to him. That might be changing now. Back in the early 2000s, there were already rumors of parties that went too far. Stories of models and musicians invited to Diddy's events who later spoke about feeling unsafe or pressured. But without evidence, most people brushed it off as just wild celebrity behavior. Now, those old stories are being looked at in a new light, and they're starting to sound a lot more serious. The freakoffs are the most shocking part. These weren't just parties. According to prosecutors, they were planned events where Diddy allegedly used drugs, intimidation, and his status to control people. Victims say they were forced into things they didn't agree to. And it wasn't just once. It was a pattern happening over years, sometimes recorded on camera. And who helped plan those parties? Were employees involved? Were friends silent witnesses? Those questions are going to be asked in court, and the answers could drag even more people down with Diddy. Some of the people close to him might have to choose, protect him or protect themselves. Then there's the business side. Diddy built an empire. Bad Boy Records wasn't just a label, it was a movement. He made stars. He made money. He made history. But now, that legacy is being crushed under the weight of these charges. If he's found guilty, everything he built could disappear overnight. Major brands are already backing away. People in the music industry don't want to be associated with this case. And that's before the trial even begins. If the court finds him guilty, the fallout will be huge, not just for Diddy, but for everyone who ever worked with him. And what about the fans? Some are still supporting him. They believe he's being targeted unfairly. But others are heartbroken. They grew up on his music. They saw him as a success story. And now they're being asked to look at him in a completely different way. His sons, too, are caught in the middle. Christian and Justin have grown up in the spotlight. They've been called Nepo babies, accused of riding their father's fame. But now that fame might be the thing that destroys them. Whether or not they're guilty, their names are now tied to serious crimes. And it's going to be hard to escape that. Christian's yacht lawsuit is especially damaging. If the audio evidence is real and gets played in court, it could change everything. It's one thing to deny accusations, but it's another thing entirely when there's a recording. And if it's proven true, Christian could face his own criminal case down the road. Justin's trouble seems smaller in comparison, but they still add up. A DUI might not seem like a big deal, but in a case this big, every detail matters. Prosecutors are going to look at their behavior and paint a picture. They'll say, look, this whole family acts like the rules don't apply to them. And let's not forget about the weapons. Defaced serial numbers are a big deal. It means someone didn't want those guns to be traced. Why? What were they used for? Why were they hidden? These aren't questions that go away easily. If the guns are tied to any other crime, this could blow up even more. There's also the legal side. Diddy's lawyers are some of the best in the country. They've defended famous rappers, drug lords, even mobsters. But even the best lawyers need something to work with. And with the amount of evidence piling up, they might not be able to save him this time. Dr. Dawn Hughes, the expert witness, could make or break the case. She's known for explaining trauma to juries in a way that's clear and powerful. If she testifies and the jury believes her, it could mean serious trouble for the defense. That's why they're fighting so hard to keep her out. The defense is also arguing about timing. They say the prosecutors are playing dirty, adding charges just weeks before the trial. They say it's not fair, and it shows that the government is desperate. But prosecutors say they're just following the facts. If new evidence comes in, they have to act on it. In the end, it's going to come down to who the jury believes. Will they believe the victims? Or will they believe that this is just a case of people trying to take down a celebrity? It's going to be emotional. It's going to be dramatic. And it's going to be watched by the whole world. The trial could take weeks, maybe months. Every day, new details could come out. More videos, more witnesses, more stories. And every one of them could change the outcome. That's why everyone is paying such close attention. This story isn't just about one man. It's about power, fame, and what happens when people think they're untouchable. Diddy may have ruled the charts, but now he's facing a different kind of judgment. One that doesn't care about record sales or award shows. And when it's all over, what will be left? Will his music still play on the radio? Will people still dance to his songs? Or will he be remembered as another fallen star who lost everything? Only time will tell. One thing is clear. The days of Diddy being untouchable are over. Now, he's just another man standing trial, hoping the jury will believe his side of the story. So stay tuned, because this trial might change not just Diddy's life, but the entire music industry. And once the truth is out, there's no going back.